Hey guys, this is Comics G-Man. I was going to take the day off today, but I was watching some Jimmy Dore on the side while I was doing some stuff. And I gotta say, this has some really good things in it. AI is coming for your religion. And what Garland Nixon and Matt Weinglass talk about here in this video, I just think I wanted to share this with my audience, see what you guys think about what's going on, and what are your thoughts on this, because this is some pretty serious stuff, and I think these two guys in this show did a really good job breaking down the whole situation. So stay tuned, relax, and let's find out what the hell is going on with AI and religion. Okay, so let's get this started here.
Right. My name's Garland Nixon. I'm standing in for Jimmy Dore. Jimmy is on vacation, and I hope he's having fun. But we are here to, I don't know if fun is the right word, but as they integrate AI into our schools so they can rename our children, little 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be a lot easier to name them. In fact, it'll get to some point when your child is born and you'll say, I want to name them Billy. I'm sorry, which you'll be talking to an AI computer in the hospital. I'm sorry, your child has already been designated 407321. You may call him 321 for short. Thank you. Well, now we got another interesting story about how AI is being integrated into religion. And here's the interesting thing about that. It's being integrated into religion, and we already know, Matt. At first we thought AI. We were told AI is just they just takes the information. There's nothing's being done to it. It is not in any way being manipulated. It just takes what it has and it gives you what's out there. And then Grok said some things about Zionism in Israel, and all of a sudden we found out that changed within a day, and that there were Zionists out there saying Grok has to be changed. But let's start here. The first AI rabbi, ChatGPT. Woo-hoo! Now, ChatGPT, you've probably been to ChatGPT on many times. I know I go pretty much every day when I want to find out what's happening. This is where I go for my news and information. You go there and you can just go.
I don't use ChatGPT at all. When it first came out, I was like trying it a lot and using it, but I decided to train myself to just go back to how I used to do research and look up articles, because yes, ChatGPT is extremely convenient, and of course I understand it does a good job with gathering resources and all of that, but I believe that it takes away a certain part of your brain. I mean, not literally. I don't mean literally. I mean, I think I find something more satisfying in my own process of research than just completely depending on ChatGPT to just gather up all this information and figure out how to bundle it in the way I want to hear it. You know what I mean? So I still stick with the old-fashioned way of doing research. Because I think they're kind of using ChatGPT to make people even more docile and more lazy in their way of thinking, and it's a way of kind of generically making everybody kind of fall in line as massively as they can, and preventing us from having a more natural, organic, chaotic way of being as a mass of people, as individually speaking. It's just a way of getting more individuals to be on the same page with the big brother, the mastermind villain, right? Let's just talk in comic terms here.
Ask it questions. I'm sure.
Oh, and if you want to know what this picture is over here, it's from the old George Lucas film THX 1138 with Robert Duvall. I haven't watched the movie in 5 years, but I remember it very thoroughly. It's a really good movie. I mean, whether it's debatable if it's predictive programming or what, it's a great movie if you are interested in these kind of subjects, about what's going on with AI or dystopias or that kind of thing. I highly recommend, if you never did see THX 1138, I highly recommend you watch this, because in this scene, I picked this image specifically because it relates to this subject of Jimmy Dore's video. Robert Duvall would go inside of a booth, and the booth would have this AI image of Jesus, and he would like try to ask it like questions about life and everything, and it would just like give him answers like this, like work hard, increase production, prevent accidents, and be happy. Like, you know, that kind of it was kind of creepy too. But I could see this going in this direction with this AI stuff for all religions, from every religion, from Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, Protestant. Like, this is just going to go fucking crazy, man. This is going to turn into, I think, this is going to be like this. So that's why I decided to choose that picture.
Sure, you could ask it whatever you wanted about the Palestinians, and you'd get a straight out, honest, unbiased answer that had not been addressed by perhaps, I don't know, whoever owns the company in the first place. What do you think, Matt?
Oh no, this is exactly what this is here to deflect any actual conversations that maybe you'd want to have if you are Jewish and you want to like ask about genocide being committed.
And I agree with that completely. And it's not just the Jewish people that I think this will be used to brainwash them to not know about what's happening with Israel and Palestine. They'll be doing it to the Christians and the Catholics too, to get them on board with it as well. You know, like if you have a legitimate question about what's going on in Israel and Palestine, you don't, if you're someone like me, sorry if this turns off some viewers. I hope it doesn't turn you off to my comic subjects, at least. If you're not into the political parts, you don't have to listen to this, and you don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to force my ideas and how I feel about this stuff on you. But I do think these are important subjects to talk about. And if you happen to be open to talk about this without getting too offended and able to just discuss these subjects with me, please feel free. But if it's too much, if it's too sensitive for you, you don't have to involve yourself, and you could just stick with my comic videos. I won't get annoyed if you don't like my politics, because this channel anyway is not about my politics. But when I see an important subject like this, like, I think it's worth sharing.
By our greatest ally, bestie friend in the entire world, and have a real conversation. You're not going to have that now, because these are pre-planned, pre-wired answers. That's going to make it a lot easier for them to keep that narrative going, right, Garland? This is going to be like this is going to really shorthand this for them, so they don't have to have human interactions on this anymore, and it keeps people in their place. And I know we've
right, because let's be honest, human interactions, right, when it's not controlled and regulated, it's chaotic. There's different ideas, different thoughts, and but I honestly believe that the way the church is set up, for example, I don't know how things are like in synagogues and stuff, but when I was in church as a child and as a teenager, I've seen how it was. I didn't see too much debate going on. I didn't see too much thought. It was just everybody sitting down and being spoon-fed stuff by the priest without any questions. So the churches and the religions, in my opinion, already have like a good form of control over the masses of people who go to church or whatever religion you are. But this AI will definitely streamline that control, and I believe it will make that control even more efficient than it was before. Because at least with humans, you have like human error, so that could kind of open up other branches of possibilities and change. But once you streamline AI, that human error will go away, and that efficiency will make things more. You know what I'm saying.
Tried this before, and we can see the results are already, again, planned to deflect you from having any critique of a foreign country and a foreign government who is genocidal atrocities we are not allowed to have a comment on.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing is...
And it doesn't even just have to be about that. It could even be about our own government. Like, say that the AI aligns with our government, and our government our government is doing terrible things, in my opinion, right now, all over the charts. You know, that's a whole other subject. But say like you're not buying the whole bullshit about how everything is great and how the government is doing this and the government is doing that and we need to be appreciative and this and that, and you're not buying it. Well, the AI will correct you on that.
In all seriousness, the person that goes to this is likely to be Jewish. And this is a way to brainwash the Jewish community. You know, the person, the average schlub, now this says explore your Jewish side. Well, you know what? What if somebody has Jewish friends? They live in a Jewish community. They have questions. This whole Palestine thing is freaking them out and they want to know more. Well, why not just go to ChatGPT and find out more? So it's targeted, I think, at people who probably have a question mark in their head about the contradiction about what they're hearing.
And it fools you because it makes you think, this AI stuff makes you think that it's unbiased and that it's just collecting all of this data throughout the internet that it has access to, and it comes to the conclusions from all that gathering of data. But you have to remember also that these are owned by corporations, and there are people behind its coding, and there are biases deep within the coding. You won't see it. It'll be very hard to spot. Actually, in my opinion, some of the AI, the bias is actually really easy to spot. But as they become more efficient with this AI, the bias will become very, very difficult to spot. So it'll become, the influence that they will have over people's minds will be so deeply subconscious. I mean, even more effective, even more unprecedented than what they tried to do through like television and radio, because that had its limits. The limits for this is there are no limits when it comes to AI. I really think there are no limits for what they could do to us with this. That's just my opinion, and I'm negative on AI. I don't think this is good. I think this is not good. This is not, you know, when they use those examples about the horse and the buggy, and then we went to the car. This is something that is like, this is like you have 8,000 Gorilla Grods, and you give them like a medicine that boosts their IQ by like 5,000, and then you like throw them all into the wilderness, into civilization, and you're like, let's see what happens. Like, those Gorilla Grods with those like thousands of IQ points, they're going to exterminate us and take over the world. Like, that's what I feel like AI is.
About Judaism and what they're seeing of Zionism. And I would say to those people, Joe Biden's a Zionist, Lindsey Graham's a Zionist, John McCain's a Zionist, Donald Trump's a Zionist, Marco Rubio is Zionist. How many of those are Jewish? None.
Facts. Could somebody tell me where Garland Nixon is wrong, what he just said? How is he wrong?
So just this is, Zionism is just say not necessarily about Judaism. Let's continue. This is even better. AI-powered church service in Germany draws a crowd. I was positively surprised how well.
Now that is fucking creepy. Don't tell me that is not this, man. This is coming to life. THX 1138, bro. There it is, right there in front of your eyes. It's the Jesus on the screen talking to you. I mean, it's not Jesus. It's like they're making it like a regular person, like a pastor. But I mean, how is it any different than this? You know what I mean? It's amazing. And when did this movie come out? Was that like in the 70s that this movie came out? Wow.
It worked. On Friday, over 300 people attended an experimental ChatGPT-powered church service at St. Paul's Church in the Bavarian town of Fürth, Germany, reports the Associated Press. The 40-minute sermon included text generated by OpenAI's ChatGPT chatbot and delivered by avatars on a television screen above the altar.
And as this gets more advanced, that sounds a bit boring. That sounds like you're just going to a movie and like watching the screen up, or like, you know, when you used to go to CCD as a kid and they would like bring down a movie or a film. As this gets more advanced, they will have it where you could talk to it. Like you'll be in the sermon or you'll be in the church with other people, and like you'll all be, if anybody even decides to talk, right? But like you'll be able to interact with the AI pastor or priest in the church itself. And it'll come up with better responses than a human priest ever can, because they'll have access to the entire Bible, right? An instant. They'll have access to every form of religious book you could think of. They'll have access to every, like in Doom Patrol, one of the characters in the show, a Japanese character, she like shows a symbol, one of the Japanese characters, and it represents that in time, all art will be thought of. All thoughts will be thought. All art will be made. All paintings will be painted. And it's like this is what's going on with the AI. I believe it's like, but the only reason why I think people fall into this trap and they're so convinced that this AI is so godlike, and that it could lead us towards whatever transhumanism or becoming like gods or something. All this insanity. But if you really think about this, and I'm not a mathematician, but if you gather up, say here's a box, right? Here's a square. Now let's make pretend this square, no, how about this? Here's my Roku remote. Let's make pretend that all of human knowledge, art, and writing, and engineering, and everything that we were able to put on paper, on digital, everything from the internet, all of human knowledge combined is in this Roku remote. Now we have the AI. And let's say the AI is Crypto to Superdog, okay? Let's say the AI is Crypto to Superdog here. So we feed Crypto all of human knowledge. And now, Crypto to Superdog, the AI Superdog, he has attained all of human knowledge that has been gathered through the internet and through technology. But does this make Crypto to Superdog a god? No, because it is only, there's the limit to this as well. Because the human knowledge that has been gathered, as infinite as it may seem, is limited in itself. No human has figured out godhood. No human has become an angel or a demon. No human has died and been able to tell us exactly what happens in the afterlife. It's all anecdotal. There has been no draft or engineering or drawing that has showed us the pathway to immortality, to godhood. You see? So even AI is limited in that fashion because AI itself is relying on all of human intelligence combined throughout all of the years. So this stuff where AI now, we're going to be so dependent on it, it's a joke, because at the end of it, we're actually becoming dependent on ourselves again. But it's even more messed up. Do you get what I'm saying here? Do you get what I'm saying? We're making AI something it isn't. And we're going to let it take over our entire livelihoods. We're going to become completely dependent on it. But all it is just all of human knowledge, and we're just able to get access to it right away. But I do not think that's good for the human psyche. I do not think this is good for our curiosity, how we're going to go about life. I think it takes away really any reason for us to be human. I think it takes away any incentive to be artistic, creative, curious, scientific. You go down the list. Now, I know a lot of people will argue that, this is all the way more to be scientific, but no. In Childhood's End, the novel Childhood's End by Arthur C. Clarke, everybody lost interest in science and art because all of it was answered by the aliens who came and showed us everything. So I think AI is like the same thing in Childhood's End. Once we get access to like all of knowledge in instantaneous moments, and I'm sure as people become more efficient of using it and they become better at it, it's going to make life like redundant. I think the nihilism is going to just grow even further, and I don't think incorporating the AI in religion is going to help anybody spiritually either. Might help a few people, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to cause even more emptiness.
I'm not a particularly religious man, and I haven't, been to church in many years. Maybe a friend or something was, Garland, you've got to come. Somebody's getting married. Somebody's getting, whatever. You got to come. Somebody's getting dipped in some water, bar mitzvah, whatever. People ask me to go to something, and yeah, sure, I'll go as a member. But I'm not particularly, I study Zen. Okay. But now the Chat GPT can put me on the right path to heaven. I'm heading to heaven. And there's an AI path that's going to get me there. How do you feel about that, Matt? Are you ready to experience your connection with God through some Max Headroom looking guy on the screen who God only knows, I guess Larry Ellison or somebody was behind that crap? What do you think?
I mean, on one hand, Garland, I mean, I guess I'll say I'm on the fence here because on one hand, you can see the capitalist model here, the efficiency of, cutting out the middleman, wiring people. People can just use the QR code on, and
on your forehead,
right?
On your forehead, the QR code on your forehead, because that's coming.
Right on the forehead, and just kind of bypass any sort of possible human interaction, which you want to get rid of. That's the point, because that's the wasted time in the church model. The human interaction gets in the way of the real agenda, which is using the religion to control the masses. You can do that much easier with these 40-minute sermons, and people are having a good time going. They're like, hey, this seems to work. So on one hand, I could see I could see the profit margin here. I could see this is a good business investment if you're a venture capitalist. But I would say, on the other hand, this is absolutely insane, right? Because when you take the human element out of religion, that's the one buffer that we had in place to have real questions and force real answers in some cases, that allows people to think outside the box of their scripture and do things outside of that, which might involve protesting against the thing that they were told had their back their whole lives. And we've seen this. So
tell me where Matt Weinglass is completely wrong on that. Tell me how he's wrong. Where is he wrong on that? I think he's absolutely correct. They are trying to level out the playing field mentally, spiritually. They're trying to make people on the same level, the level that they want you all to be on. They don't want chaos, They don't want all of this chaos with us. They don't want like all of these different possibilities and unknown paths that we could take and how we could affect life. They want us to be on a predictable trajectory, like as if we're just numbers on a sheet on the stock market. You know what I mean? And they don't even want us to be like the stock market, like up and down and this and that. Like they want us to be completely leveled out on the graph, and maybe there'll be a few bumps, but those bumps will be controllable. They'll be just enough for the AI to control until one day it's so efficient where there won't be a little bump in the graph for the controllers anymore. You see where I'm going with that?
This will only lead to less and less of pushback against the churches, which you have to have. You have to have pushback against every establishment, every institution. So this is a way you get rid of that. Fast track the results they want, which is total compliance.
Right.
All right. Well, now that we know that God is an AI, the service, which includes prayers and music, was the brainchild of Jonas Simmerlein. You like to look into old Jonas Simmerlein's background, a theologian and philosopher from the University of Vienna. Simmerlein told the Associated Press that the service was about 98% from the machine. This is what I find an interesting part. In this case, the remaining 2% went a long way. Since ChatGPT doesn't work by itself, Simmerlein guided every aspect of the service's creation.
Exactly.
So let me see if I understand this, old Jonas Simmerlein. The service was 98% from the machine, but you guided every aspect of the service's creation.
Yep.
Help me out. Those two things don't seem to align. You know what? I ate 98% of the food, but it all went down Matt's throat. I don't know.
Right. I ate 98% of the food, but it all went down that other guy's throat. That's what I was saying early on in the video. It all seems like it's objective. It's all doing it itself, and it's just collecting all this data and giving you an answer. But underneath all of that 2% here, right? That is the controllers. That is the bias. That is the corporations trying to figure out how to control you. That little percent is them. That little 2%, it makes a huge difference. And that's exactly what I was saying.
And I'm lost here, but let us continue. The sermon, which was led by computer-generated avatars of 2 men and 2 women, focused on topics of leaving the past behind. Wait a minute, you're going to love this. Overcoming the fear of death. Imagine that. Your government is telling you, the computer is telling you in Germany, look, we're going to have to go to war with the Russians. We're going to fight the Russians. You're all going to die. Your kids are going to die. Probably 80% of this country is going to die. But you got to overcome the fear of death because it's more important that we something Ukraine. Never.
Yeah, right. How about that Ukraine war? I thought that was supposed to be over, guys. Oh, everyone forgot to talk about that, huh? We all just conveniently forgot about that one.
Never lose faith. Don't worry about death. While the wisdom of outsourcing spiritual wisdom to a machine is an open question. Open question? Simmerline frames it more like a hyperbolic necessity. You're going to love this, Matt. And this is something that you say all the time. In fact, I know you 100% agree. Artificial intelligence will increasingly take over our lives. Yeah, we're saying that, guys. In all its facets, he told the API. And that's why it's useful to learn to deal with it. Learn to deal with. Don't you love that, Matt? That's what the government's telling you. That's what the AI is telling you. Your teachers, your preachers, they'll have homeless people, AI homeless people. You'll just like, there'll be like a screen on the sidewalk you walk by, and there'll be like a guy leaning over who's, whatever, in bad shape, and he'll be the AI homeless person. Hey, they told you, Matt, whatever your name is, I'm going with Matt. They told you. You're just going to have to learn to deal with it. Have you learned to deal with it, Matt?
No, I haven't. I think this is completely backwards here, Garland, because you look at this, the topics it's focusing on, the leaving the past behind. No, we want to learn from the past. We don't want to ignore it. We don't want to ignore all the atrocities our country has committed and all the previous presidents, only focus on the current thing. No, we want to learn from it. Overcoming fear of death? No, that's not the reason we're in.
I hate to say it, though, even without the AI, we have not learned a lot of those lessons. I mean, at the very least, like with Vietnam, Iraq, the Gulf War, Iraq, Desert Storm, blah, 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 9/11, Middle Eastern War, 20 years. Even without the AI, we have not been learning our lessons. We keep repeating the same kind of non-ending wars. But with the AI, man, I mean, like I said, it's going to make the power limitless almost.
We're in the streets for Palestine. The reason we're in the streets to challenge genocide, the reason we're fighting against AI, we're fighting against pharma, all these things, is because we value our life and we don't want to die. And then to say we're going to take the people in the church and overcome fear of death is a very dangerous model, because it puts you in a position where your life isn't valuable. You're learning to become a pawn of a larger game that you can't control, and you don't lose faith. And that's also very dangerous. When we know what happens when we go all in on faith, hope, and change, right? Just trust the plan. That's what the Trumpers are doing it right now. We did it with Obama and Bernie. Just believe. No. So we are losing faith, and that's.
You see, guys, Matt is onto it. Matt is onto it too. That's exactly my thoughts. You see what he said there? He didn't just criticize all of the people who follow Trump and still believe in him. He also talked about like Bernie and Obama, because the left and the right are both working in tandem against us. Neither of them are for us. And I hope one day people are going to wake up to it en masse, but it doesn't seem like there's any change in that front, unfortunately.
Why we're doing something about it. So this is all about stopping protests, stopping resistance, stopping questions. That's what this is all about. Those are the last things I want to be focusing on as my human species is heading into World War III and ultimately the end of days, or whatever they want to call it.
Well, what's interesting is this, that the Iranians, one could argue the Shia Muslims who...
As for the end of days and World War III, I don't believe neither is happening. I mean, who knows? I could be completely wrong. You don't know, man. You don't know anymore. But my gut, I don't buy it. I think that's used to make people afraid. And maybe it might happen. And if it happens and, you die and that's it, whatever. But from what I'm seeing, I think that's a lot of fear-mongering. I think it's another control mechanism. That's just me, though, If you feel differently, tell me why. But me personally, I don't buy into the fear-mongering of end of the world, Revelations, or whatever religion believes in, whatever their version is, or World War III. I think a lot of it is fear-mongering.
Who embrace martyrdom say, you know what, the Americans have attacked us. And I saw something I've never seen before. The Americans said, we're going to blow up the bridges and all of that stuff. Remember that? And they all go into the bridges and the points of the Americans. So they overcame the fear of death for their faith. Mm-hmm. They're willing to sacrifice their lives for their civilization. So that's their religious belief of overcoming the fear of death and not losing faith. But it ain't faith in the government.
No.
You know, they're like, never lose faith. Faith in who? Well, faith in God. Faith in Trump. Faith in Biden. Faith in the government. You know, when they say don't fear faith, never overcome. Remember, you got to overcome fear of death. Well, okay, what? Fighting against genocide or for good? No. When the government tells you got to die so that, I don't know, so that the oligarch can make more profit.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, your Bible companion, illuminated by AI. Ask anything. Isn't that a great website? Illuminated. Illuminated.
World order.
AI sermon generated from biblical preaching. You literally now, and look at that guy smiling. Guess what? I guarantee he's an AI picture. But guess what? If you are a preacher and you want to write a powerful sermon with a safe, secure tool for solid preaching, go to AI and enter your email address and it'll write the sermon for you. I wonder if it's going to say anything about standing up against genocide. I wonder if it's going to say anything about standing up against evil, opposing war. Perhaps they should read Jesus' Sermon on the Mount or something like that. I don't know. I'm thinking it ain't going to be there. I'm thinking none of that crap's going to be there. Nope. And I'm thinking that this is a way for them to get into the church. They want to preach. They want to write. If you won't let them have an AI preacher, then they'll just write the sermon for you.
Yeah, no, and this is, and we know the preparation for this. It includes, if you remember
Again, though, as I said, I believe that the religions already have a good control over the masses. Maybe they're like operating at like 75 to 80%, if you get what I'm saying. But with this AI, it's definitely going to be like all cylinders, you know, hyperdrive on, warp speed. You know, they're going to be 100% controlling you.
The preachers, the Christian leaders, Catholic leaders that were brought to Israel, like there was like 10,000 of them that were trained and educated in how we can move into this next phase. I'm sure this AI was part of that demonstration, but just to align their verbiage, right, with how they're going to capture their people in their various cities. And this is all over the country, right? They were all flown out there. They come back. And this is how you implement this very aligned, very specific type of sermon that's going to continue putting Israel first, this very Judeo-Christian approach to religion that's been written. We know this has all been rewritten from the New King James Bible that kind of took all of a sudden, you know, Palestine's taken out of just the map is gone. Never mind, everyone. This is the type of thing they're going to need. And it's working. This is the type of thing that will keep people in line, ready to put Israel first as we continue to align U.S.
Again, they're already in line. You watch mainstream media on the right's side, and even the left, they're already like totally okay with what's going on with Israel and Palestine. And once they wipe off Israel off of the, once they wipe off Palestine off of the map, and they push out all those people and all the other horrible things, if you read about it, you know, everybody on the right and the left seem mostly okay with it. They seem mostly like compliant, quiet. They just don't even know. They don't even care to know what we're supporting with our tax dollars. So that's without the AI. I can't imagine that it's going to be much different once the AI kicks in, but maybe that maybe the blindness will be like even more impossible to break through. Maybe it will be even harder to open people's minds up to different perspectives than it already is. I don't know. You know, you can't predict the future. You don't know.
Us in Israel into the same military, the same, you know.
And again, to anybody who has a differing opinion than me, don't feel like I'm outing you. Don't feel like I'm shitting on you if what I'm saying offends you. These are just my opinions, and we're in America, and supposedly we have freedom of speech and freedom of expression. So I implore you, I commend you if you were to comment on my channel, on this video, and let me know your thoughts, even if they're opposing to my opinion. I'm open to opposing opinions as long as they're well thought out and they're well-meaning. If you just want to like talk shit I mean, you could talk shit. I'm just not going to answer you. But if you have a well thought out why you feel this way and why you think my perspective on this subject is wrong, I really want to hear your thoughts. Like, I'm serious. I'm very genuine about that. I'm trying to, whenever I try to talk about politics, I want to bring in different people as well. Just like in the comics, right? Like, I just want different people to learn. Even me, we need to learn how to exist with each other, how to talk to each other with opposing opinions. Because at the end of the day, we live in the same country. And at the end of the day, these evil elites that are trying to do all of these things, they're not going to care that you're on the left or you're on the right or you're this or you're that. You're going to be down their scope. You're going to be their target. You and me. So eventually, us as a people, we have to evolve and realize that we're in this together in some form. And I'm not saying we're ever going to be 100% as Americans. I know. But I'm saying we have to learn to live with each other and understand each other with all of our differences. And I think we'll become stronger as a people and more resilient to the plans that the elites have for us. That's just me.
By abilities and the same, just basically being the same country, the churches being online with that is essential to that. And that's why this is very, very scary how easy it is that they can get away with this.
Well, Matt, can we go full tinfoil hat here?
Sure, let's go.
Just for fun. Is that really those preachers that came back? I mean, I thought Westworld. Reverend Nixon, you seem so stiff and your skin feels like silicone. And why do you have a tag on the back that says Real Robotics, makers of teachers and sex dolls? You go there and now your sermons are all so bland. You're just not yourself anymore. Ever since you went on this foray to Tel Aviv and came back, I just can't make heads or tail of why you're so different, sir.
Oh no, they've been enlightened. That's why they're acting a little funny there, Garland. They're still their same old self. Just don't worry about the glazed over eyes. Never mind that. I absolutely.
And your arm fell off, Reverend, and you just picked it back up and just kind of clicked it back on, like
Yeah, no, but this is not tinfoil hat. This is legitimate questions. Like, what are you doing with these people over there, and why are they all like? I can totally understand that. I think another part of the tinfoil hat question we need to ask is Peter Thiel's involvement with this, because we know about his secret societies that he's been running. Doing these AI lectures in these very secret locations, and we know people have come out of these locations and said, hey, Peter Thiel's talking a little nutty about changing the Book of Revelation, reshaping humanity's future using AI and just having this ability that he feels, and a lot of these billionaire tech psychopaths feel like that they have the right and the ability to guide this, like you said about the previous the guy that put together that service in Germany, that they feel that they have the right to maneuver this in the way they feel is best. So it's a lot of power that they're preaching about, and so guys like Peter Thiel, guys like Sam Altman, we can be very careful about them and how far they're going to take this as far as reshaping the entire narration of what God actually is and how AI is used to champion what they want, not for the people.
Yep.
Well, praise the Lord and pass the Coinbase wallet. You'll have digital tokens, and they'll pass the digital plate, and you will put your digital tokens, and your phone will have a little app, and it'll go ching ching, and that's the digital plate swinging by you. And when you hear it go ching ching, you can pick how many digital tokens, because by then you'll be living off the digital money that the government gives you anyway, because our economy collapsed. And there you go. Thank you, Reverend AI. Matt.
Yeah.
Matt Weinglass is a great guy.
Can I say one thing real quick
yes.
about the protest part of this? We haven't seen so much in this area, but we do know that with AI, with Flock, with some of the AI data centers, that people are noticing and they're getting out there and protesting. So we just hope that they see just the same urgency when it comes to the takeover of the churches, when it comes to the takeover of our schools, and they're able to understand that this affects all of us. It's not a right-left issue. It's a bottom-up movement. And those protests can make a difference, as we're seeing data centers being shut down We're seeing some of the flock stuff being removed. So we can do the same with the schools and the churches as well. So we hope that people can do that.
Hey, come see me on Tuesday.
Yeah, just make sure to visit this video. Give it a like for the algorithm. I think more people should see this video. I hope Matt is right that the protests are making a difference, shutting down the data centers, and people will protest what they want to do with the churches. I hope. But it's we'll see, man. Things are very tight. Things are very, very up in the air right now. So yeah, the guys, this was just a different video today because I was just listening to this, wanted the day off actually, but I thought this was worthwhile enough to share with my audience. And please, let's talk about this in the comments, talk to each other. Tell me anything new that you know about this situation. And like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good rest of your day.